stories take place on many levels. And while I'm going to talk about the visit of Jesus to a wedding at Cana of Galilee, where he turns water into wine, and we're going to look at that on all sorts of levels. Definitely, there is a literal, real level. Cana in Galilee is a place. There's a wedding which Jesus goes to. It makes total sense. But just sort of literal stuff is quite a limited way of looking at this, because the images start kicking in quite soon. John's not that interested in the wedding. I'll tell you why he's not that interested in the wedding. We don't know whose wedding it is. We don't know if it's Gavin and Stacey's wedding, or there's no names. Because John doesn't care whose wedding it is, because that's got no impact for us. Wedding, that is interesting, that this sign of Jesus will happen at a wedding, because weddings are a metaphor in the Bible for how God engages with the people of Israel. God is like a bridegroom to Israel, who is his bride. And similarly, wine is all over the Old Testament as an image. When Israel is going well, its vineyards are flourishing and producing gallons of lovely wine. So both the vineyard metaphor and the marriage metaphor are ways in which God relates to Israel, who is working well. Jesus gets to the wedding, and then there is no wine. We move now back from the practical to a sort of personal level. There's this extraordinary mini dialogue between his mother Mary and Jesus, and she says to him, they have no wine. And he comes back to her and said, yeah, well, what's that to do with you or me? It really is a kind of, say, teenager, whatever, what's that? Kind of, don't put that on me answer. And she overrides it. She doesn't even engage with it. It's just totally believable bit of dialogue. She doesn't bother arguing with him. She just knows that he's going to do it because she's told him to do it, even though he said he won't. She knows he will. So she says to the stewards, look, just do whatever he tells you to do. And then interestingly, Jesus does do it. It's as if he kind of, on the surface, he kind of reacts negatively to his mother's instructions, but actually he goes about doing it. And then we move back into literal symbolism in that, okay, he's going to be, water needs to turn into wine. Where is this water? It's in 6 stone jars carrying the waters for Jewish rites of purification. These are huge. These are like wheelie bins kind of thing. So it's not solving a little socially awkward thing by bringing out a few extra bowls of wine. Yet it's creating lashings of wine. Lashings of wine contained in Jewish rites of purification. Water used for Jewish rites of purification. And we come back to this sense that the Jewish religion has got tired, that worship in the temple is not what it could be. Jesus has come to reform that, and reform it in such a way that it is even more glorious, even better. So he gets it, he turns an ordinary thing, the water, drained of its kind of use, into wine, and it's not just any old wine, it is wine that is better than the wine that has gone before. The steward tasted it and said, most people bring out the good wine first, but you've brought it out last. And this is that, meaning, yes, what the Jewish nation had as a vineyard of God was real and important, but it pales in comparison with what's going to come now that Jesus is here. And then John's Gospel writer tells us at the end, this is the first of the signs that Jesus did so that his disciples might believe in him and his glory. This account is, remember, the Gospels, all of the Gospels, but especially John, are not like 101 things that Jesus did. They are things which carry meaning. And I think in this case, he's taken something like a wedding and he's just latched onto this metaphor and said, this is what should be happening. Now, who knows ultimately about the physical reality? I don't care that much, and I don't think John cared that much. I think what he's excited about is seeing that Jesus is more truly glorious than anything that's come before. It makes previous methods of religious practice pale into comparison. And this is the moment when Jesus starts unleashing his full divine self on the world.